Hello students, and welcome to the CompTIA Tech Plus exam course brought to you by Third Level Technology. I am your instructor, Jim Herbie. In this episode, we're going to continue in Module 2 of the exam objectives discussing infrastructure by covering Section 2.3, Storage Types. Let's begin.
We're going to begin our discussion by taking a look at local storage. Local storage is going to be data that is stored permanently inside of your computer device. To access your local storage, you will not require an internet connection because this is going to be data and information that is stored inside the storage media of your desktop or laptop computer. Your local storage will be either the hard disk drive or the solid state drive that is connected to the motherboard inside of your computer device. Within your local storage, you have the ability to create what are called partitions. Partitions are going to be different segments within the storage drive that allow you to create specific drives that will store data related to something internal to your computer. There are three common local disk drives that you will see on your computers: C drive, D drive, and H drive. Your C drive will be your local storage folder that will store all of the boot up processes and files for your operating system. Your D drive is going to be where you have your data backups. And your H drive will serve as a home directory on your local hard drive. With local storage, as long as you are able to authenticate to the device and have a working power connection, all of your local storage will be accessible. Next, we're going to discuss the difference between volatile and non-volatile storage. Volatile storage is data storage that will require an active power source. The most common type of volatile storage is RAM memory. We'll discuss that in more detail in a moment. Your volatile storage will be where your computer will temporarily store all of the different files and applications that you are running on your computer. And from your memory, you can access those in a quicker manner than from your hard disk or solid state drives. Let's contrast that with non-volatile storage. Non-volatile storage is any memory type that is able to be retained permanently without a power supply. Non-volatile storage is also called permanent data storage. Your most common non-volatile storage types are hard disk drives, solid state drives, USB flash, and optical disks. Now we're going to go ahead and go through a series of different media or device types that we can use for data storage. First, we're going to discuss RAM memory, RAM. This is random access memory. RAM memory is volatile storage. It is temporary data storage that we use for all of the files, applications, and services that are running on our computer. RAM memory will require a power supply. Once a computer device is turned off, the RAM memory and its cache will clear. Memory cache is going to be all of the different stored file records and application processes that your computer can access while it is powered on and running. Our RAM memory uses a metric called Hertz, Hertz, Hertz. This is the amount of cycles that a memory can do in a single second. RAM memory will operate at either the megahertz or the gigahertz speed. RAM memory is used with a memory card form factor. Your motherboard will have some RAM memory built in, but we also have the ability to expand our RAM memory through adding additional RAM memory cards in our expansion bus slots. Next, we're going to discuss hard disk drives. Sometimes you'll see this abbreviated as HDD. Hard disk drives are non-volatile permanent storage. Disk drives that will be inside of your computer that will be attached to the motherboard. Hard disk drives use rotating magnetic disks to store our data. And these disks will spin and can access data by using a component called an actuator arm. An actuator arm is going to be the component that will be able to locate specific files or pieces of data that are stored on each individual spinning platter. Your hard disk drives come in two common form factor sizes, 2.5 and 3.5 inches. Frequently, if we have any damage to our disks, we're going to have to replace the entire drive itself. Our next storage type is an SSD, a solid state drive. Solid state drives are non-volatile memory. They allow us to have permanent data storage without a consistent power supply. Solid state drives have no spinning disks or moving parts. They use a technology called flash cell. And each one of these cells will be able to store a certain amount of data. Both solid state drives and hard disk drives will work in conjunction with our RAM memory for data access when the computer is powered on and running. Your SSDs come in several common form factor sizes: 1.8 inch, 2.5 inch, 3.5 inch, and 5.25 inch. We also have a storage type called a hybrid drive. A hybrid drive is when we will have the capability of both a solid state and hard disk drive in one single component. Hybrid drives are useful because they allow us to have different types of data speeds depending on the type of information we are trying to access. Your solid state drive component will allow us to cache or store temporarily files and applications that we want to access in very quick time. The hard disk drive component can store data that sometimes is going to be archive or backup. Your hybrid drives commonly come in two different form factor sizes, both 2.5 and 3.5 inch. Next, we're going to discuss a couple types of non-volatile storage that are what we also call peripheral. This means that we will have to access the data on these storage types. We will have to connect them to our computer device. Our first peripheral non-volatile storage is a USB flash memory drive. We sometimes just call this a USB drive. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. And we use USB flash drives in two common types: USB Type A and Type C. Type A is a rectangular connection interface. USB-C is a symmetrical oval-shaped interface. With USB flash memory, we can permanently store data on the flash drive and access it once we insert it into the interface slot on a desktop or laptop computer. While USB is a non-volatile storage, it is not designed for permanent storage of our information. USB flash drives can be easily lost or stolen, so we never want to keep critical data stored on these as the only method of storage. Another type of peripheral storage is optical disks. Optical disks are flat circular disks that store data through laser stamping. We can access information stored on optical storage by spinning the disk and reading data that is stored within the grooves of the disk itself. There are three main types of optical storage: CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, and Blu-ray. CD-ROM stands for Compact Disc Read-Only Memory. It is an older method of storing data, and most of your CD-ROM disks will have a storage limit of 700 megabytes. DVD-ROM stands for Digital Versatile Disc Read-Only Memory. DVDs can store up to 4.7 gigabytes of data on a single-side disk and up to 8.5 gigabytes on a dual-side disk. A newer type of optical technology is Blu-ray. Blu-ray discs allow us to achieve much greater storage capacity. A single-side Blu-ray disc can store up to 25 gigabytes of data, and a dual-side can store up to 50 gigabytes of data. Our next storage type is a network-attached storage, or NAS. A network-attached storage is going to be a data storage server that we can connect to a computer network. It's going to be a standalone device that will provide file and drive level access to our data. Network attached storage is very useful for storing file types that will have large sizes. This will be very useful in use cases such as streaming media. In a network-attached storage device, you will have multiple disk drives that will be organized in a way to provide backup and redundancy to our data. Redundancy means that we will have data stored across multiple disk drives so that if one disk drive fails, we can still access our information because it will be available on another disk drive. Our network-attached storage is also able to be connected to our network and allow for what's called file sharing. This is where we can create permission levels for users to make sure that only authorized individuals can access the files and information that are stored on your network-attached storage. Next, we're going to discuss a file server. A file server is going to be a centralized location on our network that will permanently store our confidential files and application data. With a file server, we will have our network administrator that will create access rules for all of our different users on our network. On a file server, we have the ability to modify information through the ability to either add, edit, or delete files from the server. Our file servers also allow us to perform data backups. This is where we can create extra copies of our files and information so that if we have any type of network failure or issue with our file shares, we can access our data through a backup. File servers also have the ability for remote access. So this will allow our users to access certain types of information on our file servers from a location outside of our common business location. And the last storage type we're going to discuss is cloud storage. Cloud storage is a type of storage that is remote and off-site. It will require no physical server to be present in our office location. To access cloud storage, we will need an internet connection. This is because our cloud storage is going to be stored off-site by some third-party vendor. We can access our cloud storage from any type of device, a desktop, a laptop, or a mobile smartphone, as long as we have a working internet connection and the authentication credentials, the username and password, to access our cloud storage resources. Some common examples of cloud storage are Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, Amazon Web Services, and Dropbox.
That will conclude our discussion of Section 2.3 storage types. In our next episode, we will move on to Section 2.4 in the objectives and discuss peripheral devices. We thank you again for following along in the episodes and the course, and wish you best luck in your studies. Enjoy the rest of your day.